Remember when we discussed the fraud and error bill, which allows the government to snoop on your bank account? Well, loads of you have DM'd me and emailed me saying, well, Bernie, I'll just move my money abroad like the rich do. I'll open an account in another country and I'll keep it private. And that, you know what, sounds perfectly reasonable, doesn't it? The government has told you that all of these bits of legislation will regulate banking to stop the ultra wealthy hiding their money. And you might agree with that, but isn't true. You believe it's your money and you can do with it what you like, but no, you can't. You see, since 2014, the world's banking system has been rewired under something called the Common Reporting Standards, like a globalist thing. It's an international data sharing network run by the OECD. That's the same body that drives the global tax and climate frameworks that we've talked about before often. Over 110 countries have signed up to this system, and yes, it includes the UK, all 27 EU states, Switzerland, Canada, Australia, Japan, and most of the rest of the developed world. They all signed up to this thing. And it means that every year those countries automatically exchange information about bank accounts held by their residents abroad. So if you live in the UK and you open an account in, say, Spain or France or Switzerland, then that bank will send your name, address, your account balance, and your tax identification number to their tax office, and they send it straight back to HMRC. Not because you're a criminal, but just because you exist. And it isn't really about tax evasion or money laundering. It's about total visibility. So your savings account, your pension, your business account, all of it gets reported automatically under the CRS system. When the government says, we'll just check for fraud, they don't even need new laws to do it because this infrastructure is already there. The fraud and error bill taps that global system domestically, linking DWP, HMRC, and all the banks together into one great big surveillance web that you can't get out of. I have explained this to the people that email me. Now, some of you still think Switzerland is a safe haven. No, that ended years ago because Switzerland joined the OECD reporting system in 2018, and it now sends the UK detailed data on every account held by a British resident. Now, you can still open an account there, of course, if you quite like the idea of having a Swiss bank account, but it brings you no benefits whatsoever because the idea of Swiss secrecy is gone. It is no longer there. It died without there even being a headline. And then I get, but what if I have an address abroad? Can I get around it that way? I'll just pretend to be local and open an account that way. Indeed you can. Banks will happily take your passport and a local utility bill, but that doesn't make you invisible either, because when you go to open an account in France or Spain or wherever, they'll now ask you for your tax identification number. Every country has one. Every country where you are an actual resident. So if that number belongs to the UK, they're legally required to report once a year how much money you have in your account to HMRC. If you truly move abroad and you become a tax resident somewhere else, meaning you literally emigrated, then that's not a loophole either. You're leaving the system, but you're not beating the system, because even then, if you've left anything here, property, or let's say you work from home and your home is in, I don't know, Barbados, right? HMRC can still request your financial data through another little treaty we signed, the Mutual Legal Assistance Network. It's an OECD mechanism. So every wire transfer, every SWIFT transaction still leaves a trail. So you can move your whole life, but you can't ever move your money footprint. And so who runs this great global web then? Let's name them. Well, the OECD through their CRS network, the Financial Action Task Force, they set the rules for anti-money laundering. The EU has gone further, setting up a whole new body called the Anti-Money Laundering Authority based in Frankfurt, and that's got power over every bank in Europe. And the UK, well, we're just slotting right in, of course we are. Why would anyone want to fight for the rights of their citizens? So the UN writes the treaties. The UN Security Council hardwired the Financial Action Task Force into global obligations. The UN ODC trains governments to enforce them, and the OECD's Common Reporting Standard turns all of your secrecy and privacy into data flows. And regional regulators make it all work. All one architecture. Now, the UN and all of their bodies and the government say it's a great thing. They'll tell you it's about fairness, everyone paying their fair share, no hiding money offshore. I don't know why that's got anything to do with them, but anyway, you can't do it anymore. Sounds perfect for them. But in practice, what it means is no privacy for you, no discretion, no autonomy. If you can't hold an account or move funds without being watched, then do you truly own your own money? Not if they can stop it, right? You just hold it with permission. And this is why the fraud bill matters so much, because what it does is it connects this new domestic wiring to that global network. Banks in the UK will have to respond to government information notices. Data will be cross-checked across all records and databases. And once that's normalized, once you just get used to it, then they'll use the same global feed to check overseas accounts too. It's not an isolated law just done for the UK. It's a plug socket into the global system. Now, the government's using this word called interoperability. It sounds quite technical, but all it means is that your digital ID, your bank account, your tax number are all talking to each other. And now it's across borders. In the future, maybe you'll log into your online banking. Your identity will be verified by the same framework used for your government services, your travel documents, even your social security. And that's where digital ID and CBDCs come in, because the global system needs just one identity layer to make it all work. So think about it, right? Every previous generation could own something privately. They could own their own gold, their cash, a safety deposit box, and even a foreign account. There was space between the citizen and the state. And now it's disappeared. Once it went, it was never coming back. Now, in theory, you could, of course, bank in a country outside of the OECD network, maybe a few left in Africa or Asia that haven't joined yet. But if you send money from a UK account anywhere, you'll be flagged by the compliance systems instantly. And don't forget, those banks that aren't regulated are underdeveloped, or they're under sanctions anyway, or they're not connected to the international payment system. Hello, Russia. So it's not freedom you'd be choosing, it's complete exile. So money isn't a medium of exchange anymore. It's a form of free speech. It's how you express value. Every transaction is monitored, approved, and judged by an algorithm tied to your digital ID. Then financial freedom becomes conditional. They don't need to silence you. They can just exile you. And yeah, the rules of surveillance will pick up terrorist routes, bad actors, and genuine criminals, and no one wants that to not happen. But it will also pick up those people that perhaps just don't agree with the government. perhaps those who've been debanked in the UK. It will mean them being debanked globally. So remember that sequence: the fraud bill, digital ID, CBDC. That's step by step what they have built. And each step sounds reasonable on its own. And that's how it works, right? Small, reasonable steps. You can't outrun the system by operating an account abroad. I'm really sorry. All you can do now is speak out loudly when politicians talk about anti-fraud powers, support amendments that demand judicial oversight before bank data is accessed, and push for the right to hold cash and non-digital transactions. What do you think? Where did you think you could hide your money? Did you think that you could send it to Switzerland or under your mattress? I'm thinking barter. I'll give you honey, you fix my heat pump. Tell me what you think. Subscribe, like, comment. Until next time.